The topic being, who are the non-human beings? One of these commonalities that so many of us have encountered, not only in reconnective healing, but perhaps in whenever we've had a spiritual, mystical experience, and clearly for those who are survivors of the near-death experience, is that there are some beings that are perceived, and they're perceived on many levels. Sometimes they are so tangible, people actually recall touching them or having an interaction with them. I was just saying in our Facebook Live, how many of you, maybe you want to share with me in the chat, how many of you have actually felt a hand being placed on you during a session of reconnective healing? Or if you are a near-death experience survivor, what are your memories of your experience? Who was there with you? And it's an exciting topic to me too. It's something that has always personally fascinated me. I've always been interested in the other people, as I call them when I was a child. As a young child, it's not that I had the second eye, but I did have a sense that reality could not possibly be everything that I was seeing. I had this keen sense since I was 3 or 4 that what I was seeing was possibly not entirely real. I cannot tell you how I came to that conclusion, but it was very ingrained in me. When reconnective healing came into my life, it was such a validation for everything that I had felt to be truth in my heart. And it's funny how you are, as you live in these frequencies, guys, as you live in these frequencies, all this uncovering continues to take place in you. And one of them is the memories of this interaction with non-human beings. Well, we are going to concentrate on the ones that seem to be so common in these 3 type of experiences, because it seems to be very much part of a phenomena, right? The phenomena of the near-death experience, the spiritual mystical experience, and definitely reconnective healing. Actually, I dare say that perhaps 9 out of 10 people in reconnective healing who have received a session, who have facilitated a session, have felt a presence when they have been interacting with the reconnective healing frequencies. I mean, I'm going out on a limb here, but just looking at the amount of comments and memories and shares that you guys send us, this seems to be super prevalent. So let's start by saying, what do we mean by non-human beings? Because one of the things that is very clear is that many of us have experienced human-like spirits, perhaps ancestors, perhaps people that that have transitioned, or people who, or beings that definitely have at first glance the appearance of being human. And yet there is something interesting that happens, and I'm quoting here of some of my clients and also my own experiences, and some of the practitioners who have shared their experiences with me, is that although they look human, they know that they're not. It's like we know that we're looking at a facsimile, something that is there, perhaps taking up this appearance to produce ease in us, so that we are more willing to accept their presence without going into an all-out panic, which I know that tends to be more common when we're talking about paranormal hauntings. But we're not talking about the paranormal here. We're in fact talking about the supernatural, as Dr. Eric and Jillian explained. And we're going to get a little bit more into that. Because, sometimes, and I think this has happened again as well for a lot of people, because they've shared this too. I'm not going to say how many, because I really don't know, guys. I'm going to go out and say that many of you, when you've shared your stories, you've also described those who are perhaps not even recognizable at all. They're like things we've never seen before when we try to describe them, if this is in fact seeing them, because the transsensory, as Dr. Eric likes to call it, right? The transsensory experience, you perhaps taste it, you perhaps hear their colors, or you perhaps have smelled their sparkliness. It's such an interesting relationship that when these beings turn up, in our midst, in the middle of one of these three rarefied experiences, right? How we interpret their presence, how it comes across. So yeah, more often than not, it does feel fairly human. It feels tangible, like somebody touching us or somebody we can almost touch or even recognize. But there are the times in which you realize that they are not that. And that is a beautiful point of engagement for us and with ourselves, because it just goes to show us that there is an infinite amount of possibilities of embodiment for our consciousness. If embodiment is the right word, because some of them don't even seem to have bodies, or whatever they have seems to be temporary. So, I think that as we've been seekers, or we've become seekers, we have to ask, are these the volunteers that have come to help humanity? The spirits, the entities, the spirits of light and joy who are coming to help us, as Solomon and Aaron describe in Solomon Speaks, And I have to ask, we have to ask, because it is your question. So who are these non-human beings? How these supernatural beings reveal to us our true essence? Well, first of all, they are acting as mirrors to remind us that we are supernatural too. Once we allow this presence to understand, to recognize that they are real, they're absolutely there. They're absolutely there to be our helpers, to be of aid, to be volunteers, to help us get to where we need to go to. Then we recognize ourselves in them too. And that's a beautiful evolution when it comes to understanding and interacting with the frequencies of reconnective healing and these spiritual guides. And we're just going to call them an umbrella term of spiritual guides. By observing them, we become accountable for our own power. If some of you have seen them in action, have perceived them in action, their love, that infinite love, is really instrumental, is such an inspiration and a reminder of who we really are, and that is truly our own power and our accountability for our next steps. They're here to help. They're not here to fix our things. And third, by acknowledging their presence, exactly, we recognize we are love. We are that love that Terry was describing, the love so many of us feel the moment that we interact with the reconnective healing frequencies, because it's the love that is infinite and eternal. And again, guys, if you have not availed yourself to a moment to interact with the frequencies, we so strongly encourage you to either visit a practitioner or contact a practitioner in our directory. Play one of our Friday night videos, the Friday specials that we do every on YouTube. Here on YouTube, we publish one of our videos from our practitioners. They create these amazing little interactions with the frequencies. Enjoy that. Let that speak to you, move through you, because being in this environment, being in the frequencies of reconnective healing, just opens you up to your true essence and the supernatural in all your potential being that you and we truly are. And guys,